Hi, everybody. Welcome to Gig. I'm your host, Mike Redman. On Gig, I interview talented and interesting people in the film and music industry, so you can learn what they do for a living. Today, my guest is Kim Neundorf, owner of Freerun Artists. She's a composer and most notably Christo de Veer's co-writer and manager. I just love her music, so let's jump right in. Well, hi, Kim.
Hi, Michael.
I'm so happy to have you on Gig today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for spending a little bit of time with us. You have a very interesting life. And I was we were just talking about how I knew so little about you. And I couldn't find out much about you. Christo de Veer showed me this picture with you hanging upside down inside of a golden wrapper. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We were supposed to take pictures for him, and Christo is Christo, so he wanted something easy and natural, and I think that was what came out.
It's really cool, and it's very funny because I was looking at pictures of him, and he's kind of a wild-looking character, you know, and so with that shot of you in there, it seemed totally appropriate, you know.
Well, he's a one of a kind, so we
yeah. Well, that's good though.
Continue that road.
That's what great artists, I think, are. You know, they're also a little bit crazy, but that's okay. So, Kim Neundorf, artist management, producer, publisher, composer, cook, self-proclaimed outdoor freak, and idealist. You're from Berlin, living in Quebec. You wear many hats, Kim. Which one is your favorite?
Oh, that depends on the day of the week. Ask me that on a Monday, and it's going to be different on a Saturday. But all of them, them. I mean, I have done many different things in life to come where I am right now, and there's no direct line actually to where I am. I always had a love for music, and
I love your music, by the way. I listened to a lot of it. It's it's very introspective. It's very moving. You just have a kind of a deep heart in there. You know, it's wild.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, and it's deserved. It's not like so many composers that I talk to, that they're wonderful composers and they're, you know, very classically trained, and they sound like they were classically trained in film composers. And there's a bit of sameness there that you don't particularly have as a. So anyway, I thought it's cool. So you have all of these jobs; they all make you money. How important do you think it is for musicians today to have more than one income stream?
Very important, and I don't think it's actually different than it was in the past. I mean, you have to make a living, and for a musician it's pretty hard because he has to work all day on his practice. He cannot stop. So it's a full-time job, and the hard thing that most people don't know and they think is like a musician, he plays, I don't know, in the bars at night and whatever, but he also gets up early in the morning to start practicing and do his job. And very important. And I think the most important thing for a musician is actually to know his business. You know, it's called a music business for a reason. So you have to learn the basics of it.
Anyway, I want to jump real quickly, and we're not going to spend much time on this, but your music in White Lotus, it really complements and blends so well with Christo de Veer, and some people don't know him, but listen to an earlier podcast. It's amazing. Can you talk a little bit about how the two of you collaborate on cues, or even if you do?
Yeah, sure. So, to start at the beginning, you first read the scripts and you have a talk about the setting and the characters, and then you imagine things because you haven't seen anything, so you start writing your themes. And what I did was exactly that. So I composed a couple of themes, and I got a very old friend of mine over to Quebec to the studio. He's a guitar hero.
Yeah.
He plays all kinds of chords, actually, mandolin and violin. And it was just great. And I asked him to do a lot of stuff for me. And at one point, it was the big day, and I had to present my music to Christo first because he's the boss. And so we went from there, and we were bouncing, ideas back and forth. And that's how it, starts rolling. And it's pretty much, for me, it's all about music and friendship, really. So I think what you can hear a lot in Christo's music, and maybe a bit in my music too, is that there's a lot of, these givings, this friendship, actually, this.
It's a very creative. The music that you both do is that's one of the reasons you guys win so many awards for it. It is unique. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, because I also do a little career coaching, and they have a very unique sound in their music, that they compose as a library, and they're called Other Animal, and they're awesome. And I said, well, what makes your, music unique is your otherness.
That's good.
Artist management, everything that you do has its own rewards, closing that publishing deal, placing something in a show or whatever. But I would think that what you're talking about right now, just composing music and letting everything that's in you flow out, would be very, very fulfilling.
It is. It's actually a dream come true, if you want. But I mean, now it sounds so nice, and when you're in it, you're in a lot of stress, and you have a lot of pressure that you have to deliver. And I mean, you can like something so much, and then the producer has to like it too, or the director. So there's also that. Right. But I mean, just to go back to Christo, we just understand each other very well musically, and it's we both like strange things, or different sounds, international, how do you say, world music, so different percussions, different beats. It's like
it's very interesting that you guys ended up together doing this.
You
know what I mean?
We know each other for ages. So
you have. Are you formally trained as a composer?
No, but I'm a trained pianist. I play piano since I'm 6 years old. So and I studied jazz harmony too. So, but I really loved like hanging out with musicians and taking care of them. And I'm a very organized person. And usually musicians are not. So
no.
So I found out early that I can be a helping hand. And
tell me what you love about the actual business of music. What is it you really like about it?
First of all, it never gets old. It's always changing. And like I said, I personally like taking care of talent, and I like to help them, to support them. I like to fight for them because they need it. Because artists cannot really stand up for themselves. I mean, sometimes they do, but some of them, they're a bit more shy, or so it's good to have somebody who goes out there and
that's a perfect segue, Kim. Are you Christo de Veer's manager?
Yes, I am.
So let's talk
for the last 12 years.
Wow, let's talk about management a little bit then.
Sure.
So was he your first client?
He was my first client, but as a manager. But I have been an agent in Berlin. I was working at a tour booking agency and for world music. And that's actually why I ended up in Quebec, because at one point I always wanted to leave Germany, and it was always between Paris, London, and then I was working with a band from Quebec. And at one point they invited me because we were on tour in Germany, Austria, Switzerland. So I came over and I just liked it a lot, and I just stayed.
That's pretty cool.
So now circling back, so yes, so I was an agent, and then I did something completely different for a couple of years, and somehow fate.
That's cool. And
Bounced me
that's
back to this.
our paths always are crazy a little bit when we look back at them. You mentioned the agency. What's the difference between being beyond the obvious, which is an agent, books gigs.
Right.
What's the difference between you working as an agent and you working as a manager?
Well, an agent works in one part of the business, like he's like a booking agent, or he's a PR agent, or you have several booking agents for different territories. And that's like, and the manager actually does the whole thing. He's like a 360-degree all-inclusive administrator. So he also takes care of the publishers and
everything, all of the deals,
the budgets, the pictures, everything.
Then the agent would be working for the manager, yes?
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they work together, basically. Sure. And the managers, they are also he's like the central point for everybody. So everybody who wants something can call the manager, and then he tells them, well, you got to call him or her in that country, and they take care of this. So the artist is like completely free of this whole aspect, can just concentrate on his music or her art, whatever it is.
So, since you were Christo's manager, can you talk a little bit about how he'd been doing a lot of other work, but how this opportunity for him to compose for White Lotus even came about?
Oh, White Lotus. They got in touch, when was that? In 21? White Lotus 1? My God, time flies.
I know.
And it was actually a music supervisor from HBO who contacted me. And that was because they really liked some music of Black Mirror. So Mike White, he put a lot of 2 tracks all over the first couple of episodes, and so this music supervisor, she called me, and we went from there. Yeah, it was a pretty fast turnaround, because I think he had about 4 weeks to complete this whole thing. So he went all in.
Oh my gosh, really?
For season 1. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite something.
When we talked. One of the things we talked about is, because you both work with unusual sounds, you're creating sounds. It's not like saying, hey, I want a violin to do this. He's creating this new sound, and he's playing with it until it just gets just right. And he mentioned, I wish I could do that faster, because it's the experimentation.
Very good point. Very good point, because just yesterday I was I had to again decline another project, because it's always on the same at the same time, and Christo cannot do that. He has it's not like he has an orchestra around him, and then a flute section, this section, you get an arranger, and then you do your melodies, and boom, that's it. No, he is literally creating
every sound. Yeah, it's
every
crazy.
sound. So he cannot. It's like, not doable.
And he can't do like a Hans Zimmer or something and write a melody and have other people do it for him.
And have other people do it for him. No, it's not. It's unfortunate, because there's so many nice projects out there, but it is what it is. So you have to pick. And
so that also, I guess, and I'm not going to talk specifically about him, but that kind of limits the amount of revenue that you can generate as a composer, because you can't take so many projects a year.
It does.
Yeah.
But we are doing fine.
Oh, I'm sure you're doing just fine. But it made me.
But it is definitely. So what I do also is I try to give projects to other composers. So that's what I do at the same time. So I do not only work with Christo as manager, yes, but I'm an agent for. Here I am an agent for other composers. So
What does a manager do?
so many things. Well, first of all, he gets a lot of people, like I said, agents. You could try to get agents. And then, first of all, it depends on, are you a musician, a band, or a singer-songwriter, or are you a composer? So
okay, I'll tell you what. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let's use me as an example. You know, I'm a great band, and you and we pitch you on being our manager, and you take us on. What could you help us do? Because right now we're just playing decent clubs, but we're not touring enough. We're trying to get a deal. What would you do? So
first of all, I would look at your social media and of everything, how you present yourself, and then I would go with you over it and have suggestions, what we could do, who we could hire, what campaign we would have to start to get more visibility. And the next thing, of course, is the album. You need a good sounding album. Yeah. I mean, you can do a lot of yourself nowadays, which is great. It's a lot of fun, but it's always different. You have some professional doing this part of the job. And so this, and with that, we would go shop maybe for a label. Depends though on your status that you have already. So you might not need a label. You can do everything yourself. It's a lot more work. And actually what is nice is there are a lot of labels nowadays which are run by artists, and they're all like, they have this, like, it's like a community label.
Sure, gotcha. Yeah.
So you can be part of this, and it helps a lot, and it's really cool. And so the label thing, what did I miss? Oh, of course, most importantly, the booking agent. So the best thing would be to have a booker that sells you for clubs, festivals, showcases. I would try to get you showcases. I would try to figure out the best conferences for you, and where you would showcase, and then I have to do all the financial things, and then I have to do all the legal things, all the things you don't want to do, and you don't have to do.
My band, we don't know
and don't know how to do it.
Right.
Of course. Yes. Correct. So
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's really a lot. So that's why most of managers or agents have a lot of artists, because the income stream comes a lot later.
Yes,
I forgot one very important thing. It's the grants. Is it a grant in English?
Grant?
Yeah. You have to supply grants. Yeah, you have to apply for, or you can apply for grants from the government to help you.
Didn't even know that existed.
Yes, it does. That's many things.
See?
So there are lots of programs, and your PRO can help you. They have a lot of programs where you can travel, you can meet other songwriters in different countries. They lodge you there. So many things. Yeah.
Kim, at what point in my career should I be looking for a manager?
Once you have good songs, I don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, don't just play. Go out there and play, and have, I don't know. You need a good repertoire. Yeah. And you have to be solid on your playing. I mean, it sounds a bit stupid, but
Well, you have to. I always thought that before I'd be looking for a manager, I would have built my own social following up to be pretty strong, and taken care of some of those pieces and parts, so that when I came to you, I could say, "Look, we have this, and we have this, and we have this, but we need representation." Does that make sense?
That makes totally sense. Yeah. And nowadays, it's very important actually to have the most plays and likes you can get, which is of course very hard, but that's a bit part of the game.
Talk to me just for a moment about your love of the mountains and nature, and I mean, that's a big part of your life.
It is, and a very important part of my life, because with all the stress, you really you have to decompress. So I go out, and here we have the Laurentian forest, which is the oldest forest in the world.
It's called the
mountain. It's the Laurentian forest, and it's or Laurentian mountains, and it's the oldest mountain group in the world. So
wow.
It's not very high. It's about, I think, 1,000 meters. So, but it's very old. It's very vast, and it's you go an hour and you don't see anybody anymore. There's some people. There's no houses. It's just fantastic, and I love it. And you have all the birds, and absolutely stunning. Yeah, I love it.
How about a quick little rapid fire? I've only got a couple more things, but these are quick answers. What's your favorite band of all time?
Ooh, impossible. That's not one band. But
okay, give me 5.
I just give you Tom Waits.
Okay, Tom Waits?
Yes, no band, but Tom Waits. Yeah, definitely.
That works.
Yeah.
Hardest thing about working with musicians?
Insecurity.
That's boy, isn't that amazing? That's what a perfect word. Greatest part of your job?
It never gets old. Yeah.
It's always new. And what movie have you watched more than once?
So this is impossible.
It is?
So many movies, but I would say, do you know the Three Musketeers from 1973?
I do. I do.
Oliver Reed.
Who's the guy with the black big mustache? He was so funny.
Faye Dunaway, Michael York.
Yeah.
Oh,
God, that was a funny movie.
That is so funny. Yeah. And it's great. Yeah.
I'll have to watch that again.
You should. It's fantastic.
If I was an indie artist and I was starting out, I had no representation or idea really, I was really good. Like you said, I have great music, but no idea what to do next. Would you have any advice for me?
Yeah, so performing rights organization, go to ASCAP or wherever you are, where you're a member of ASCAP, CSAC, what's the other one, BMI?
ASCAP, BMI, yeah.
Yeah, and in the US, call them. They have a great member service, and they have so many programs. They have so many events. They can get you connected. They can get you into conferences. You can learn. They have different conferences, like I said. So you can learn a lot there and get to meet so many people, and it's really good. And they're very helpful and very resourceful, of course, because they're also good for international events. So. And they can help you with grants too, with the subvention thing. I already told you.
I might start playing music again just to get a grant.
You always should. Always make music.
Well, Kim, thank you for that. I never have heard. Nobody's ever said that, and nobody's ever given that advice. And if I was starting out, what a wonderful way to get an overview of everything. Just
perfect.
It's perfect. Well, thank you again. It was so nice to meet you, and thanks for taking the time
to meet with me. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me.
And give my best to Christo. And
I will.
He invited me up there to hike, but we'll see. Someday, possibly.
Someday, perfect.
Okay. Take care of yourself. Have a great, wonderful day. Okay.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. You too. Bye-bye.